The UEFA Champions League is back this week and Liverpool are back in the biggest competition known to club football. This is what the real stage is, the anthem, the nights under the floodlights. You're travelling to the San Siro, to the Bernabeu. Things will get big. 36 teams in the Champions League. The format has changed. We no longer have group stages. We have a league table format, and in the first week there are 18 games, and we are going to be predicting every single one of them today. Starting off with Juventus versus PSV Eindhoven at the Allianz Stadium in Torino. Now, Juve have had an interesting start to the season. They've had a decent transfer window. They've brought in the likes of Kefren Thuram, who I think is a very, very good centre mid. They brought in Juan Cabal as a left-back option. They just brought in the likes of Nicolas Gonzalez from Fiorentina, who I think is a pretty good player. They've brought in Conceição as well from Porto. So I feel like it's a decent team. They've got that quality. Also, let's not forget the two midfield signings of Douglas Luiz and Teun Koopmeiners, all at a decent level. And now under Thiago Motta, let's see if they can build something. I think this team does lack star quality, though. I don't think it's really that good. But PSV have had a really good start to the season, right? They've won all their games so far. They won 7-1 against Almere City away as well. So they've had some pretty nice wins. They've got a good squad. They're going to be ready for the game at the Allianz. They're gonna push Juventus. I feel like it's going to be close. Let's not forget the attacking options of Johan Bakayoko, who was wanted by a lot of big European clubs. Liverpool were in for him this summer as well. I mean, even going into the defence, into the midfield, Joey Veerman and stuff. It's a very good team. Jedi Schouten, I feel like it's very solid. They've had a great start to the season, and I just don't think this Juve side have enough. And I feel like even though they're at home, I feel like PSV will edge it. They're just on so much form right now. PSV 1, Juve 0. Now, moving over to Switzerland, where young boys are going to take on Aston Villa. Aston Villa are back in the Champions League. This is the team that won the competition in 1982. It was a very different time back then, but now they're finally back in the Champions League, and their first game is away against young boys, who knocked out Galatasaray in the playoffs to make it to this stage. Now, young boys are an established club. They've been in the Champions League. They beat Man United a couple years ago. They're a solid team, and Aston Villa under Unai Emery, though, he is a European king, and I feel like it's going to be a close game. But young boys, man, do not sleep on young boys, and I feel like Villa are going to have it tough. I'm going young boys 1, Villa 1. I feel like it's going to take a bit of time for Villa to get their first Champions League win this year. I think young boys are a good team. I think we need to not underestimate them. Now moving over to the big one, to the biggest one, to the San Siro, AC Milan versus Liverpool. This is a big one. This is absolutely ginormous because obviously we've been out for the Champions League for a year. Bad season, 2 seasons ago now. Arne Slot's first Champions League game. We need to talk about what happened at the weekend. Nottingham Forest, I wasn't very happy. I was actually very, very annoyed by the performance. Salah, very, very poor. Szoboszlai wasn't great. I thought McAllister wasn't great. Nunes and Gakpo, when they came on, didn't offer anything whatsoever. I feel like moving to a 3-back and putting Trent in midfield was a bad decision from Slot. Taking off Luis Diaz was a bad decision. And then we lost 1-0. It was just a really bad game. But we need to get over it. We need to get over it. There's more now. There's so many games. And I feel like we know there's going to be tough patches for Slot in his first season. We know it. It's about how we bounce back. This is the perfect time to do it. This is the statement. If we beat AC Milan at the San Siro, it's a statement. I know AC Milan aren't that good anymore, but they did just thrash Venezia 4-0 yesterday. They haven't had a great start to the season, but going to the San Siro and beating them is something that not many teams can do. And I feel like we're going to do it. I feel like our team has too much quality, and Slot is a great manager, and if we can get back to how we were before the international break, we'll be just fine. Liverpool 2, AC Milan 0. Or the other way around, I should say, because we're away. Moving over to the Allianz Arena, Bayern Munich versus Dinamo Zagreb. Now, Dinamo Zagreb just lost their derby at home to Hajduk Split. They lost 1-0, and that's going to take a toll on the squad because that is an eternal derby, and you don't want to be losing those. And now they have to go to the Allianz and play against a very good Bayern Munich side who just thrashed Holstein Kiel 6-1 away, and Harry Kane scored a hat-trick. They're on fire right now, Bayern. They're just a really good side. Jamal Musiala is a talent, a proper talent. And I feel like just the whole team they're going to be better. They're going to be better. They're going to be on top. They're going to dominate possession. They've had a good start to the season, and I feel like they'll be just fine. They'll take care of business. Cruise control. Bayern 3, Dinamo Zagreb 1. Moving over to Real Madrid versus Stuttgart. Now, this Madrid team have had a slow start to the season. Yesterday, a 2-0 win with 2 penalties from Vinicius and Mbappe. Then the week before that, 2-0 with Mbappe scoring a penalty as well. Draws to Las Palmas and Mallorca. It hasn't been a great start to the season at all. And Mbappe has found life difficult at Madrid so far. But could this be the moment things change? Stuttgart are not a bad team, certainly not. They had a great season last year, finishing second in the Bundesliga. Not a bad start this season either. It could be better, they could say. But I think Real Madrid will just handle it. They'll somehow, with that much star quality, and with Carlo Ancelotti at the helm, I have no worries that they will be beating Stuttgart. Real Madrid 2, Stuttgart 0. And the last game on the Tuesday night is Sporting Club de Portugal versus Lille. Now, this is another intense one because Sporting are really, really good, and I don't think people give them enough credit. They've had 5 wins to start the season. It's been really, really good, and we need to talk about that man, Viktor Gyökeres. If you do not have Gyökeres in your Champions League fantasy, you are making a mistake. He is absolutely on fire right now. 8 goals in 5 games. He's getting Haaland numbers, but obviously in the Portuguese league, he's doing so well, and I think bigger clubs should have been in for him this summer. They're at home as well against Lille. I watched Lille against Slavia Prague, obviously, and Lille were the much better team in the home leg, but away here in Prague, they really, really struggled and just about made it through. Maybe even shouldn't have made it through. And I think that Sporting are just a better team. That front three of Gyökeres, Trincao and Pedro Gonçalves, I've watched this team and they play ball. Ruben Amorim is a fantastic manager. Obviously, Liverpool wanted him in the summer. We got Slot. I feel like everything in this team it's all ticking. Gonzalo Inacio at the back as well. I think they'll be fine. I think they're going to do it at home. Sporting 3, Lille 1. Moving over to Wednesday's games, and we have some good ones here today. Starting off with Bologna versus Shakhtar Donetsk in Bologna, who had a fantastic season last year, but they've lost key players like the likes of Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United. And to start the season off, draws to Udinese, Empoli and Como, and a 3-0 battering at the hands of Antonio Conte's Napoli. It hasn't been great. They're still yet to win a game, Bologna, and they're up against Shakhtar Donetsk, who are an interesting club. They obviously make Champions League pretty often, right? They are there and thereabouts, but they haven't had the greatest start to the season either. And I feel like this is going to be a very close game. It's going to be about fight. It's going to be about who wants it more. And I feel like this is just going to be a cagey 1-1. I think Bologna, Shakhtar Donetsk 1-1. I think that's just the way it's going to be. And then the next one, another big one, Sparta Prague versus Red Bull Salzburg. Oh my God, I cannot wait for this one. Alright, I cannot wait for Liverpool to be back in the Champions League after a year, but I can't wait for Sparta to be back after 19 years. And to play Red Bull Salzburg in the first game, it's going to be so important. I mean, the fans in the stadium, things are going to be crazy. The atmosphere that we're going to build is going to be mental. And I feel like it might even be too much for Salzburg, who play Champions League often. They know what it's like, but they lost to Rapid Vienna last week. They lost to Rapid Vienna. Their game was called off this week due to the floods, same as Sparta's. And then they got through over Dynamo Kiev. They beat them 2-0. But I feel like Salzburg are here to be got at. I feel like the atmosphere created in the stadium, 19 years, there's going to be a feeling and energy. Sparta Prague 2, Salzburg 1. I can't wait for it, to be honest. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Then, Celtic versus Slovan Bratislava. Celtic have had a great start to the season. They are flying. They battered Rangers 3-0 in the Old Firm derby under Brendan Rodgers. They're doing very well. Maeda and Furuhashi, those two Japanese up front, linking up really, really well. I just feel like the team is just in a great place right now. They haven't lost a game. They've won every game this season. They beat Man City and Chelsea on their pre-season tour as well. Things are going well. And Slovan Bratislava, they beat Midtjylland to get here. It's also a fairy tale for them to be here. But I feel like Celtic will be enough. I feel like Celtic will handle business 2-0 at home. I just think that Celtic Park is a tough place to go, man. Club Brugge, Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund are a great team. They made the Champions League final last year. They now obviously changed manager. They've got Nuri Sahin in. They beat Heidenheim at the weekend 4-2. They're a very capable side. But do not sleep on Club Brugge and what they can do. They've had a good start to the season as well, defeating Cercle Bruges in the derby 3-0. Vanaken, Solis, Olsen and Nilsson. That front four know how to score goals. They know where the net is. At the back, the guy I want to shout out, Joel Ordóñez from Ecuador. 20 years old, talented, really, really good player. 6'1", he's a big physical presence. On the ball, he's decent. And I feel like next summer, after he has a great season at Bruges, more big clubs will come looking for him, and he might make that Pacho move, like Pacho made to Frankfurt, and then obviously a season later now at PSG. Ordóñez could do that as well, very similar build. And I feel like Club Brugge are going to shock Dortmund. I feel like it's going to be Bruges 1, Dortmund 1. I feel like it's going to be a good game, very close one. Do not sleep on Bruges. Manchester City against Inter Milan. A repeat of the 2023 Champions League final where City won their first Champions League with Rodri scoring the winner, and it's back. This game is at the Etihad, and I think that City this season have just been really, really solid. Erling Haaland is a man possessed. They've beaten all 4 teams that they've come up against this season. They look set to win the Premier League again. I think they will. And they are looking, their aim should be the treble again with the way they're looking right now. They're looking unbelievable. Inter Milan are a very good team. They're a very good team. They're Serie A champions. They did just thrash Atalanta 4-0. Very great side. But I think that Man City will just be better. I feel like City 2, Inter 1. I feel like it's going to be close, but I feel like City will be in cruise control. They'll win this game. Then we head over to the Parc des Princes for the final game on Wednesday, which sees us watch PSG take on Girona. Now, PSG has obviously lost Kylian Mbappe in the summer, but they do not look like they're slowing down. They're going to win the Liga again. 4-1 to Le Havre, 6-0 to Montpellier, and then 3-1 wins to Lille and Stade Brestois. And I feel like they look so good in the game against Stade Brestois yesterday. I watched it, and they just looked on top for every single bit of that game. They went 1-0 down. They didn't look phased. And Ousmane Dembele did really, really well. Scored 2 goals. Fabian Ruiz scored the other one. João Neves has had a fantastic start to life at PSG. What a talented player. Like I mentioned, Pacho as well. Bradley Barcola and Luis Enrique as manager. It's a great team. It's a great team. And they look even better than they did with Mbappe last year. I feel like it's very fluid right now. And that's not a dig at Mbappe. I rate Mbappe so highly. I think he's easily top 3 best players in the world. Maybe number 1. But they just look really, really good right now. Asensio kind of playing as a false 9. Or he did in the Stade Brestois game. So we'll see what happens to them against Girona. Girona, interesting club because they lost a few players. I mean, they lost Alex Garcia, they lost Dovbyk, and they've brought in a few players, right? They lost Savinho as well to Man City. So I feel like it's been a tough start to the season for them, right? Draws to Betis, and then they got battered by Atletico. But then 2 back-to-back wins with clean sheets as well. They face Barcelona tonight. That's going to be interesting. I feel like it'll be close, but I feel like Paris Saint-Germain 2, Girona 1. I feel like they'll get it through. PSG, man, Champions League night. They'll create an atmosphere and they'll be fine. Now we head over to the Thursday's game, starting off with Feyenoord versus Bayer Leverkusen. Well, they've lost now. They lost to Leipzig. And Feyenoord, who haven't had a great start to the season under new manager Brian Priske from Sparta. But I think that the best is still yet to come. He's a great manager. He's going to get this team ticking soon. It took him a while at Sparta. It's going to take him a while. If they give him enough time, he'll build something special. Santi Jimenez, Igor Pacquiao, and Bart Neal-Koop as the front 3. They know where the net is. Quentin Timber in midfield as well. Hans Scott at the back. It's a very solid team, right? They lost players. They lost Mats Wiefer. They lost Yankuba Minter, right? I mean, but they'll be fine. They'll deal with it. But it will take time. But I feel like they could shock Leverkusen, right? Leverkusen this season, obviously, the loss to Leipzig was unlike them, and they nearly lost as well to Mönchengladbach. I feel like it isn't the same sort of team like it was last year. I feel like maybe they'll struggle a little bit more. I don't know whether they're going to win the league. And I think that this game is going to end in a 2-2 draw. Let's not underestimate how much the fans of Feyenoord are going to make a difference. Crvena Zvezda versus Benfica. Now, oh my gosh, going to that stadium in Belgrade with some of the craziest fans in Europe is never easy. And it won't be for Benfica either, because I'm telling you, bro, those fans will be incredible. And Crvena Zvezda managed to beat Bodo Glimt there. They managed to turn it around. They made it to the Champions League. And they've got a great team as well. Coming up against a Benfica side with Pavlidis, Di Maria and Akhtar Kolu. So goals galore. The midfield of Kukçu and Florentino Luiz at the back. Antonio Silva, Otamendi. It's a good team. It's a good team. They've got a good manager as well in Bruno Lage, who managed at Wolves a couple seasons ago. He's a very good manager. But I feel like this could be a shock to some people. To me, it would not be a shock at all. When you play Crvena Zvezda away, you should never be expecting to win. They beat Liverpool there, I remember, in the season we won the Champions League. They beat us there in the group stages. Crvena Zvezda 1, Benfica 0. Yeah, have some of that. Moving over to Atalanta versus Arsenal, and I'm sorry, the Europa League winners Atalanta have not had a great start to the season. They battered Lecce 4-0, but then losses to Torino and a battering at the hands of Inter Milan. I mean, it's not great for them. It hasn't been a great start, and now they have to face Arsenal, who got a bit unlucky with the Rice red card and now the Odegaard injury, but they're still one of the best teams in Europe. They should still be competing for major honours this year. They're in a Premier League title race 100%. They should be hoping that they could maybe even win the Champions League. And I feel like even though it's in Italy, I feel like Arsenal will be too strong. Atalanta 1, Arsenal 3. Atletico de Madrid versus RB Leipzig. Atletico signed Conor Gallagher, they signed Julian Alvarez, they've got a good squad, they signed Robin Lenormand up against Leipzig, who are also a very good team and they're established in the Champions League. They obviously, as I mentioned, they beat Bayer Leverkusen, they've got Openda, they've got Xavi Simons, they've got Šeško, they signed Gertruida from Feyenoord as well. It's a very good team and I feel like it's going to be a close battle. I think it's going to be a classic Simeone masterclass of just park the bus, but I don't think it's going to work. Atletico 1. Leipzig 1. It's going to be a close game, but I feel like it's going to be a tough one for Atletico to get over here. I think Leipzig are a very good team, and the fact that they managed to beat Leverkusen just shows that. Stade Brestois versus Sturm Graz. I watched their game against PSG last night. Now, they have lost 3 of their first 4 games this season, and it's going to be tough for them, man. I don't think the team has the star quality. I mean, Roman Del Castillo on the right wing, I think he's very good. He scored the penalty yesterday. He's a good player. I feel like he can offer something. His chance creation from the right-hand side is solid. They've got Abdelai Sima as well on the left, who's a different profile. He's good in behind. He played at Slavia, so I know him well from that. But I feel like the defence is leaky. They conceded 5 to Marseille. They conceded 3 to PSG. But I don't think that Sturm Graz are that good either, and I feel like it's going to be a close one. But I feel like the energy, the passion is going to be big for this French football club, and I feel like they're going to do it. Brest 1, Sturm Graz 0. That is going to be one for the books, and I feel like it would be a huge moment for them. I really do want to see it happen because they have a wonderful fan base, and they showed signs in the Saint Etienne game, winning 4-0. They showed signs that they're a really, really good team. And then the final game, Monaco versus Barcelona. And Barcelona have looked really good under Hansi Flick this season. They'll take care of business against Monaco, even though it is away. I feel like the likes of Lamine Yamal, what a talent he is. Monaco have had a good start to the season, but this Barcelona side is just stacked with quality. There's so much quality in this team. Pedri is fantastic in midfield, and I think that Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski and stuff, and Dani Olmo as well as a new signing. It's a great team with a great manager and a great system, and I think they're going to be beating Monaco 2-0. I don't know how far Barcelona could be going in the Champions League. I think maybe to win it is a stretch, but I feel like they'll be fine against Monaco. Monaco 0, Barcelona 2. Thank you very much for watching till the end. Subscribe to the channel. There's going to be more videos covering the Champions League this season because it's a big one. It's the first season of the new format, so things are going to be crazy, and my beloved club is back. Come on, the lads.